Hey guys, what's up? It's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I put out a lot of other book content if that's what you're here for. I will deliver you. I also do some lifestyle content, some travel content. I'm an actor, singer, live in New York City, and I am getting excited for a spring/summer of reading and wanted to share with you my kind of summer, spring/summer TBR list. Last summer I bought all of these books for the summer and they were all very like beach read-esque. Like a lot of Emily Henry, a lot of like Christina Lauren, Eileen Hildebrand, a lot of summery reads, and that's all I read all summer, and it was not good. As somebody that just got into reading really like as an adult last year, I need variety. So this summer, that is what I'm going for. I have a few little beach reads, but I really wanted to keep it fresh, and I wanted to keep a lot of genres in there, but still kind of make it feel like summer, if that makes any sense. I have a lot of physical copies of books here. I have a lot of stuff on the wait list on my Libby. Maybe I'll make another video with that, but I just have so many physical books that like I really want to read, so I'm just gonna stick with those today. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of get right into it. I'm gonna start with this book, The House of the Cerulean Sea. This, my mom, who is amazing, and she is an English teacher, she recommended this book. It is fantasy, and a lot of people that are not into fantasy really highly recommend this book. I feel like this is one of those books that anyone who's read it is like, this is amazing and you have to read it. It's like a little weird, but like go for it. Linus Baker is a by-the-book caseworker in the department in charge of magical youth. At 40, he lives in a tiny house with a devious cat and his old records for company, but his quiet life is about to change. Linus is summoned by extremely upper management and given a curious and highly classified assignment: travel to an orphanage on a distant island and determine whether 6 dangerous magical children are so dangerous, in fact, that they're likely to bring about the end of days. So weird. When Linus arrives at that strangest of islands, he is greeted by a series of mysterious figures, the greatest mystery of which is Arthur Parnassus, the master of the orphanage. As Linus and Arthur grow closer, Linus discovers the master would do anything to keep the children safe, even if it means the world has to burn, or worse, his secret comes to light. It's an enchanting love story, so maybe there is something in the cards for Linus and Arthur. Masterfully told, and about the profound experience of discovering an unlikely family in an unexpected place, and realizing that family is yours. So yeah, this seems very snug, and it's like, you know, by the sea. By the sea! Anyway, cool. Next is Girl A. Lex Tracy doesn't want to think about her family or her identity as Girl A, the girl who escaped, the eldest sister who freed her older brother and younger siblings. It's been easy enough to avoid her parents. Her father never made it out of the house of horrors he created, and her mother spent the rest of her life behind bars. But when her mother dies in prison and leaves Lex and her siblings the family home, she can't run from her past any longer. Together with her sister, Lex intends to turn the home into a force for good, but first she must come to terms with her siblings and the childhood they shared. So it's like kind of like a family psychological drama. I don't know, anytime I see girl in the title of a psychological thriller type thing, I think of like Girl Interrupted, Girl on the Train. This book isn't very summery, but it goes with the color scheme of summer. It sounds like there's a literal bird inside of my AC. Next, another thriller. We have The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I read The Paris Apartment by her, and I really didn't like it. The guest list, there's literally, this bird needs to get out. Apparently the guest list is really good. I was not crazy about The Paris Apartment. The Hunting Party people tend to like, so I'm gonna check this out. It kind of reminds me of like And Then There Were None type thing, Daisy Darker-esque, so I'll let you know how this is. This is definitely a wintry book, but again, like I said, I like to kind of throw some things in the middle of these summery feels and summery vibes to keep it fresh and interesting. Speaking of summery vibes, we have Sailing Lessons, which my mom bought at this like library book sale in her town, and she read it and she liked it, so she gave it to me. Wren Bailey has lived all her life on Cape Cod with her mother Lindy, older sister Shannon, and younger sister Piper. Their lives have been dictated by the seasons, with sleepy gray winters followed by glorious summers and their colorful bustle of tourists. Overshadowing their mostly idyllic existence, though, has been the memory of their father, a brilliant but troubled photographer. He had long made a habit of drifting in and out of his girls' lives until the one summer he left the Cape and never returns. Now, over 20 years later, he's back, and he brings with him a shocking announcement. In a place that brings both great comfort and great pain, the Bailey sisters experience a summer on the Cape that promises not only hard endings, but perhaps hopeful new beginnings. Family drama on the beach. Makes you think of the last song. I know it's probably not gonna be anything like that, but that's kind of the vibes, the setting at least, that I get from it. Next, another summery book. We have Boardwalk summer. So now we're going back to 1940, summer 1940, when Violet Harcourt, any relation to Hope Harcourt from Anything Goes, is crowned Miss California in her hometown of Santa Cruz. She's determined to see herself on the silver screen, but Violet's pageant victory comes with a price. Cracks appear in her seemingly perfect marriage, and she quickly discovers Hollywood is not the glittering escape she dreamed of. So she makes a bold decision, leaving her name in headlines and her fate a mystery. Summer 2007, single mother Marisol Cruz lives in a charming seaside cottage that belonged to her grandfather Ricardo, once a famed performer on the beach boardwalk. Drawn to her town's local history, Mari embarks on a journey that uncovers her grandfather's lifelong secret, his connection to a beauty queen named Violet who died too young, and a story of tragedy and courage that will forever transform her. This seems fun. I'm excited to read this. I love stuff that goes back and forth between time periods, especially if one of those time periods is old Hollywood. Hollywood has lost its glamour. This I'm excited to read. This is everything I know about love. This is just such, like, I can just see me with this on the beach so hard. She kind of talks about bad dates, good friends, realizing you're enough, wild, funny, occasionally heartbreaking. It's about growing up, growing older, and learning to navigate friendships, jobs, loss, and romance along the way. So I feel like, I don't know, summer's like a very like rejuvenating time for me where I kind of reflect a lot. I feel like summer to me is like more of a New Year's vibe than New Year's is. January just always sucks, and I never feel renewed and rejuvenated in January. So the summer I like to read like a lot of stuff like this and like watch a lot of stuff that's, I don't know, like some more like coming of age type things and just reflective and thought-provoking stuff. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm excited to read this one. Next we have Trick Mirror, kind of on that note, which I've had for a very long time. It's a dazzling collection of 9 entirely original essays written with a rare combination of give and sharpness, wit, and fearlessness. It's an enlightening, unforgettable trip through the river of self-delusion that surges just beneath the surface of our lives. This is a book about the incentives that shape us and about how hard it is to see ourselves clearly through a culture that revolves around the self. It's about like being a millennial ethos, etc., etc. So I feel like these two, like in conversation together, I'm gonna have a new perspective. So the Wicked movie's coming out next year, and I've seen the show, obviously. I'm a huge theater person. I have been an Ariana Grande fan since 13 the Musical, when she had like 10,000 followers on Twitter before she dyed her hair red velvet. Like, she made that video with the vitamin water and she was like, tomorrow my hair is gonna be color of this vitamin water. All this to say, like, as a huge Ariana Grande fan, like, I grew up with that girl, and a huge like theater geek. I am so excited for Wicked. I've had this book for years. I've had this book probably for like almost 20 years. I've tried to read it so many times, like as a younger person, and I just never got through it because it's very dark. But there's something about this summer. I think it's because I used to do this like musical theater camp in the summer. I don't know, there's something about the summer that just like reminds me of musicals in a way that I can't really explain. And so even though it's like kind of this darker like fantasy book, I feel like it's right for me for the summer, and I really want to read it, and I feel like reading this in the winter is just too much. So I'm really holding out for a hero that I can actually get through this book, because I'm also a huge Judy Garland fan. Obviously she was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, so I just love the whole Oz universe, and I do think the book just goes into a lot more than the musical does. Like, the musical is its own thing, the book is its own thing, and I really just have always wanted to read this, so I feel like this summer is the time to do it. Next, we have The Comeback. You know what I think it is? I love kind of like low stakes stories about Hollywood in the summer. I think that's kind of what it is. It's like about this young actress who disappeared after she got her first Golden Globe nomination, and like it's kind of like, it reminds me of like a Britney Spears type story. It's called The Comeback, and just really pretty like colors on the cover. Again, like a juxtaposed to the rest of my books. Kind of a nice variation of story here. Next, I have Olga Dies Dreaming. This is a more sort of like just straight drama book, I feel like. So I feel like it's nice to kind of add that in there. Olga and her brother Pedro are bold-faced names in their hometown of New York. He's a popular congressman representing their gentrifying Latinx neighborhood in Brooklyn, while Olga is the Tony wedding planner for Manhattan's power brokers. Despite their alluring public lives behind closed doors, things are far less rosy. Sure, Olga can orchestrate the love stories of the 1%, but she can't seem to find her own until she meets Mateo, who forces her to confront the effects of long-held family secrets. I said that so aggressively. Olga's mother, Blanca, a young lord-turned-radical, abandoned her children to advance. I've abandoned my boy! So there will be blood. Anyway, abandoned her children to advance a militant political cause, leaving them to be raised by their grandmother. Now, with the winds of hurricane season, Blanca has come barreling back into their lives. So it's just about like a story that examines political corruption, family strife, and the very notion of the American dream, asking what it really means to weather the storm. So yeah, just adding another kind of genre into the mix here, and everyone loves this book, and it's been on my list for a very, very long time. Next, I have another fantasy book. I've been trying to sprinkle fantasy into my list. It's not like my absolute favorite genre, but I also feel like I haven't like really gotten into it yet, so I'm just trying to like get slowly but surely in there. And so my next book is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is one of my best friend's like favorite books of all time, and they like really, really, really highly recommend it, as does pretty much anybody. Like anytime I go into a bookstore and I'm like, do you recommend any fantasy books? They always point me to this one. I actually have not read what it's about yet. So it's in France. Ooh la la. 1714, in a moment of desperation, a young woman named Adeline meets a dangerous stranger and makes a terrible mistake as she realizes the limitations of her Faustian bargain, being able to live forever with— oh, is this like the Age of Adeline? Without being able to be remembered by anyone she sees, Addie chooses to flee her small village as everything she once held dear is torn away. But there are still dreams to be had and a life to live, and she's determined to find excitement and satisfaction in the wide, beckoning world, even if she's doomed to be alone forever, or not quite alone, as every year on her birthday, the alluring Luke comes to visit, checking to see if she's ready to give up her soul. Their darkly thrilling game stretches through the ages, seeing Addie witness history and fight to regain— I have chills, I don't know why, I'm so dramatic— fight to regain herself as she crosses oceans and tries on various lives. It'll be 300 years before she stumbles into a hidden bookstore and discovers someone who can remember her name, and suddenly everything changes again. I had no idea that's what this was about, and I'm not sure if The Age of Adeline is based off of this. It kind of sounds like it a little bit, that Blake Lively movie, but I am so intrigued by this. I'm probably gonna read this sooner than I thought. Next, I wanted to throw a biography in there. So I've not read Becoming by Michelle Obama yet, and I just think it's high time. There's not really much else to say about that other than it's time to read Becoming by Michelle Obama. Okay, there's like a random person's prayer card in this book. That's really disturbing to me. I'm really uncomfortable by that. I feel weird. I feel like there's a spirit trying to tell me something, and I don't want to listen. I just want to read Becoming by Michelle Obama. Next, I have— God, I actually don't know how to say this. I want to say MAME, like the Jerry Herman musical starring Angela Lansbury, but I know that that is profoundly incorrect. So this is— oh, it literally tells you. It's pronounced Mame. Mame. It means woman. It's fair to say that Maddie's life in London is far from rewarding. With a mother who spends most of her time in Ghana, yet still somehow manages to be overbearing, Maddie is the primary caretaker for her father, who suffers from advanced stage Parkinson's. At work, her boss is a nightmare, and Maddie is tired of always being the only black person in every meeting. When her mum— you see my mummy, mum's the word. When her mum returns from her latest trip to Ghana, Maddie leaps at the chance to get out of the family home and finally start living. A self-acknowledged late bloomer, she's ready to experience some important firsts. She finds a flat to share, says yes to after-work drinks, pushes for more recognition in her career, and throws herself into the bewildering world of internet dating. But it's not long before tragedy strikes, forcing Maddie to face the true nature of her unconventional family and the perils and rewards of putting her heart on the line. Smart, funny, and deeply affecting, Mame deals with the themes of our time with humor and poignancy, from familial duty and racism to female pleasure, the complexity of love, and the life-saving power of friendship. More important, it explores what it feels like to be torn between two homes and cultures, and it celebrates finally being able to find where you belong. This book I literally saw everywhere for like a month. I feel like it was like around February, March, and people just have so many great things to say about this. And again, we have this like spring summer vibe. I'm really looking forward to reading this. We love! Next, again, I have like this trend of these Hollywood tales in this video. I have Advika and the Hollywood Wives here. This was a recent book of the month pick, and I'm a huge Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fan, although I stopped watching when Lisa Vanderpump left because literally everyone that bullied her off that show, I fucking hate you. Not only do you hate Lisa Vanderpump and you don't have any empathy for people who are grieving, but you also fucking hate dogs. You're all dead to me. Anyway, this book is about housewives. At age 26, Advika considers herself a failed screenwriter. To pay the bills and keep her mind off the recent death of her twin sister, she's taken to bartending A-list events, including the 2015 Governor's Ball, the official after-party of the Oscars. There, in a cinematic dream come true, she meets the legendary Julian Zelding, a film producer as handsome as Paul Newman and 10 times as powerful, fresh off his 5th Best Picture win. Despite their 41-year age difference, Advika falls helplessly under his spell, and their evening flirtation ignites into a whirlwind courtship and elopement. Advika is enthralled by Julian's charm and luxurious lifestyle, and while Julian loves to talk about his famous friends and achievements, he smoothly changes the subject whenever his previous relationships come up. Why? Because he killed them all? Then, less than a month into their marriage, Julian's first wife, the famous actress Evie Lockhart, dies! Yeah, that's what I thought. And made a shocking stipulation in her will. A single film reel and $1 million will be bequeathed to Julian's latest child bride on one condition: Advika must divorce him first. Oh, that is so petty. I love that. Shaken out of her love fog and still simmering grief over the loss of her sister and uneasy about Julian's sudden inexplicable urge to start a family, Advika decides to investigate him through the eyes and experiences of his exes. From reading his first wife's biography to listening to his second wife's confessional albums to watching his third wife's Real Housewives-esque reality show. Hell yes. Advika starts to understand how little she knows about her husband. Realizing that she rushed into the marriage for all the wrong reasons, Advika concocts a plan to extricate herself from Julian once and for all. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Like that, this is the type of book where it's like, after I read like a dramatic book or maybe like a thriller or a nonfiction, like it's like a fluffy book, you know? And I love peppering fluff into my reading. Okay, the last one is The Magnolia Palace. I always thought of this as kind of like a fall book, so it might be like a late August, early September vibe. Oh god, I don't feel like reading this. 8 months since losing her mother in the Spanish flu outbreak in 1919, 21-year-old Lillian Carter's life has completely fallen apart. For the past 6 years, under the moniker Angelica, Lillian was one of the most sought-out artist models in New York City, with statues based on her figure gracing landmarks from the Palace Hotel to the Brooklyn Bridge. But with her mother gone, a grieving Lillian is desperate. Though work has dried up and a looming scandal has left her entirely without safe haven. So when she stumbles upon an employment opportunity at the Frick Mansion, a building that ironically bears her own visage, Lillian jumps at the chance. But the longer she works as a private secretary to the imperious and demanding Helen Frick, the daughter and heiress of industrialist and art patron Henry Clay Frickus. The more deeply her life gets intertwined with that of the family, pulling her into a tangled web of romantic bullshit, stolen jewels, and family drama that runs so deep that stakes just may be life or death. Nearly 50 years later, mod English model Veronica Weber has her own chance to make her career, and with it earn the money she needs to support her family back home within the walls of the former Frick residence, now converted into one of New York City's most impressive museums. But when she, along with the charming intern slash budding art curator named Joshua, is dismissed from the Vogue shoot taking place at the Frick collection, she chances upon a series of hidden messages in the museum. Oh my god, there's more? Are you serious? Messages that will lead her and Joshua on a hunt that could not only solve Veronica's financial woes, but could finally reveal the truth behind the decades-old murder in the infamous Frick family. That was a lot. This is not on the top, but I do want to read it because people say it's good. So yeah, that's quite a few books there. I genuinely am looking forward to reading every single one of these. I think they all sound really good, so thanks so much if you watched all the way through. You're amazing. Let me know if you have any, spring, summer recommendations. I always try to keep it fresh. I like to have some new book recommendations, but some books that have been out for a while that maybe people might have skipped past. I feel like TikTok, or with Book Talk and Bookstagram and BookTube, I feel like people obsess over a few books at once and everything else just gets left behind. So I do like to try to pepper some other books in that you might have missed out on when they first came out, and then of course some other books that are new. So I hope it's all good. Yeah, and if you have any recommendations of your own, feel free to comment down below, or if you read any of these and you have thoughts on them, also feel free to comment down below, but no spoilers please. Yeah, thanks so much. I hope all of you have a fantastic rest of your week. Happy reading, happy spring, happy summer. Let's read these books. Let's get our feet in the sand. Let's go outside. Let's sit on a towel on a patch of grass and open a book and just escape into another world. Oh! Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.